Today we'll learn the second chapter of the political science, that is the federalism. Now this federalism chapter will focus on the power sharing. It is most commonly referred to as federalism. In previous chapter we have seen like how the power was shared in a Sri Lanka country, and the second country it was the Belgium. So now this chapter tries to understand the theory and practice of federalism in India. First we will know what is federalism, okay, through this chapter, and the second is how the federalism it works in India. That means a practice of federalism in India. Now federalism is what? Federalism is a system of government in which the power divided between a country authority and various constituent units of the country. Usually a federalism has levels of government. So in our India, levels of government, what? Central and the state government. One is the government for the entire country, that is usually responsible for a few subjects. The others are government at the levels of provincial or states that look after much of the day-to-day administration of their state. So if you see both the levels of government, they mostly work for the peoples only. Now this is a map where it shows which are the federalism countries in the world. Federal political system. So most of the bigger countries, developed countries, are what? Are the federal countries: Canada, US, Russia, our country India, Australia, Brazil, Argentina, so Germany, Austria. So these are what? These are all the federal political system government. Let us look at some of the key features of federalism. That means, what are the features of federalism? First, there are two or more levels or tiers of government. More levels or tiers of government. That means what? Like central government and the state government. Second, different tiers of government govern the same citizen, but each tier has its own jurisdiction. That means both the central and the state government it work for the citizen, but each has its own jurisdiction. Now what is jurisdiction? The area over which someone has legal authority. Now the Assam is controlled by the Assam government. So the central government cannot put a force, complete its control on the Assam government, because Assam is also its own government. So every place has its own jurisdiction. The federalism provisions of the constitution cannot be unilaterally changed by one level of government. So one government cannot change the other form of government. A central government cannot change the function of a state government. Next is, courts have the power to interpret the constitution and the powers of different levels of government. So a country is also having what? Courts: high court, supreme court, district courts. Sources of revenue for each level of government are clearly specified to ensure its financial autonomy. So a state also has to keep record how much income or money they are having to run their respective states. The federal system thus had dual objectives, to safeguard and promote unity of the country. So federal system is important for the unity of the country. There are two kinds of route through which federations have been formed. That means how federalism it started. First is, the first route involves independent states coming together on their own to form a bigger unit, so that by pooling sovereignty and retaining identity they can increase their security. Second is, the second route is where a large country decides to divide its power between the constituent state and the national government. You have to properly by heart the definition of jurisdiction. What are the features of federalism?